Hello, everyone, and welcome back after a brief hiatus to the Best Care Anywhere podcast. I am your host and resident insane person, Anthony. Joining me all the way from the middle of America. He's insubordinate, he's insolent, he's many other things. It's Ethan Wilson.
But first, a musical number.
No musical numbers. So yeah, hello everyone. We're back from hiatus. I worked a week at summer camp, and absolutely nothing else of importance has happened since then. No, as you can probably guess by the title of this podcast episode, we are not watching a movie as we promised. Ethan and I decided that we've lived through too many historical events in the last 2 weeks that we needed comfort show. We needed MASH. We needed to disassociate a little bit and live through Alan Alda and Trapper John and
Well, that's only half the reason, of course. The other half is just that I love lying to the people that listen to this. I love it so much. God,
so Ethan, I'm gonna do the thing that we probably shouldn't do, but I kind of want to. So, hi, you're listening to a MASH podcast. We have and will in the future talk about moderately uncomfortable topics. And I have thoughts, and I know Ethan has thoughts, and we're not going to get political, but I just want to say this. Hey, one of the most fundamental and important moments of my life was standing on the United States Capitol Mall in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration of a president. That president was Obama. I don't think it's important, but there you go. And the keynote speaker before the actual address by the new president, I can't remember the lady, and I'm sure I could look it up and find out. I might throw it on screen. The keynote speaker before then President Obama came out said something that has resonated with me. The fact that our nation values the power of the ballot over the power of the bullet is one of our most endearing and important national beliefs. I would not be surprised if most of the people listening to this MASH podcast probably are not the biggest fans of the Republican candidate for president, Donald Trump. I am not the biggest fan of the Republican candidate, Donald Trump. Ethan, I'm not going to speak for you, but based on conversations we had, I think you're in the same boat. However, not super thrilled at the vibes, the collective vibes that we all are having as a nation right now. Y'all, I get it. This election's the most important ever. That's every election that I've been alive, apparently, because that's what everyone has always said. I get it. Emotions are high. There are genuine concerns on both sides about both candidates and the new candidate for the Democrats, which will probably be Vice President Harris. I get it. I get that people are concerned and stressed. Breathe. Everyone just take a breath. Yes, it's important. Yes, you should go vote. Yes, there are things that are concerning. But shooting at a presidential candidate is something that should disgust everyone. Thoughts, Ethan? I just get that out. I've been bottling it up for a week.
I've always loved that quote. I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
I agree with that quote too, within reason. Like, hey, Hitler. Maybe that doesn't apply to Hitler. I think Hitler's like the one guy. But yeah, again, we're a MASH podcast.
Fuck? Where did that come from? Like, goddamn, man. You just had that one on the back burner.
What, Hitler?
Yeah.
Homie, you know me. I'm a fan of World War II history. I always have Hitler on the back burner, and you can put that on a t-shirt.
I already have. It's the t-shirt I'm wearing right now.
In all seriousness, folks, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you what to believe politically, but if you value what our nation is supposed to stand for, the violence, the casually accepted political violence that we're just like, I don't want to say we're okay with, because I don't think everyone's okay with it, but we kind of wake up in the morning and go, yep, guess that's happening. It needs to stop. Like, I get it. Joe Biden is a fucking old ass man who stumbles and calls people the wrong names, and as much as I would like to believe he is sound and competent, I think he's been a decent president, but homie is old, and that scares me. Trump is also old, and he says some absolutely terrifying shit, and his supporters say some absolutely terrifying shit, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, calling for either one of them to be dead or their supporters to be dead is absolutely un-American, and we all collectively need to stop that shit. It's not cool. I don't like it. It's gross. It makes me feel like I had to go to a scout meeting. I had to be a scoutmaster of a scout troop and stand in front of a bunch of kids on Tuesday with the knowledge that all of them are aware that a presidential candidate had been genuinely nearly assassinated. Live on television in 4K for all of them to see. I don't like that feeling. Like, I get it. I've seen some of our fans posting things on Twitter about their political opinions. God bless. The First Amendment is wonderful. But everyone just chill. I love you all. I hope y'all exercise your right to vote. I want it to be better. And I know our little community of people are decent and good and can speak civilly to each other about discourse because we grew up with Alan Alda and Harry Morgan and McLean Stevenson and MASH, and we learned things from that show. But God, just breathe. Everyone breathe. Have faith in your fellow man. I needed to vent. It's been a week and I've needed to vent. Hi, Ethan. How are you?
I'm good. And before we move on from this particular topic, I'd just like to say your vote matters, of course, but in the digital age, it is very easy to become disconnected from our surroundings. And when you feel so helpless in the American political system, remember that there are things that you can do locally. Focus on a smaller difference, the things that you can control. Narrow your mind just a little bit, and just help someone close to you.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Be a good neighbor.
Yeah. I saw a big train.
Yeah, you saw a big fucking train.
So yeah,
you've been rubbing it in my face all week.
The last thing I'll say is, like, that elephant was in the room, and I wanted to address it because I feel like not addressing it is, like, also a problem. But yeah, that's the MASH podcast official, the Best Care Anywhere podcast official stance. Don't be a dick. Exercise your right to vote. Moving right along. Yeah. So yeah, saw a big train. Union Pacific sent the big boy steam locomotive out my way, and the track it ran on is literally my property line, so we got to stand on our driveway and watch it go by. So yeah, that was this big boy. If you want to see the video, it'll be on the video version of the podcast, and I'll try to get the video on our Twitter and other social medias as well. But yeah, worked a week at camp, taught shotgun shooting. 4th of July was a vibe. Yeah, a lot has happened in our short hiatus. And yeah, I don't know that I really posted that we would. I mentioned we were going to be on hiatus potentially in the last episode, but I didn't really officially say we were going to be until the last minute. It happens. We needed the break. It was going to be easier to do with me traveling and Ethan doing stuff. So yeah, we're back for season 3, episode 1, and we'll get into that in a minute. Is there anything new? What did you get up to during our hiatus, Ethan?
Dude, I've just been trying to keep my head above water. I'm taking summer classes so I can graduate this winter. And
nice. Oh, this winter.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's so I've just been. This week is my finals for all that bullshit. I've had to learn to code for this bullshit. Okay.
So you're telling me that my plan to come out for your birthday / end of your college time has been fucked because you decided to be extra studious over the summer.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm 24 and not graduating college for 6 months. So that was in my community college days when I didn't know any better. So you're a
Hell
little
yeah.
late to the party, but don't worry, you're
Well,
still
shit.
gonna be. I'm still gonna walk. I promise my
Remind me
family.
what. So when you graduate, what will you be graduating with? I forget.
I will be graduating with my bachelor's in business marketing with a minor in mathematics.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
I know. I'm as shocked as you are.
You're gonna bring a very Tommy Callahan vibe to business managing that the boomers are not gonna appreciate.
Oh, I'm already. I have to figure out how I can get arrested in a way that won't completely fuck up my chances of future employment, so I can send the school a mugshot photo of myself for my graduation.
There you go.
So, if anyone has any thoughts on that, comment below or talk
Ethan,
to.
I
I'd say
have to
talk to.
ask.
Yeah.
I have to ask because it brings me joy when I hurt you ever so slightly. Did you understand the Tommy Callahan
Hey, fuck you.
reference? That is, I need to watch that movie again. It's so good. Fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually been called called Tommy Callahan a little bit. More than a few people have commented, "Hey, you kind of remind me of Chris
What's
Farley."
the line? You can get a good look at a T-bone by shoving your head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather get the butcher's word for it. Take the butcher's word for it. Dude, Tommy Boy is such a great movie.
Oh damn it! Now I'm gonna watch Tommy
Hey,
Boy.
what's the name of their podcast? Fucking, they just watched Blazing Saddles. What the fuck is the name of the podcast? I'm gonna forget. Son of a bitch.
Blazing Saddles was a hell of a movie too.
Yeah, you can never make that movie today. God bless Mel Brooks. On another Mel Brooks related note, I have had fucking Springtime for Hitler stuck in my head for the last 2 weeks. And it's really hard because one of those weeks I was working at camp. Sleazebag Cinema. Hey, this lightsaber kills fascists. Mike, if you're listening, Tommy Boy should be. I know it's a little more recent than some of the stuff you guys have watched, but Tommy Boy or any of the like 90s SNL movies, Blues Brothers, Tommy Boy, Uncle Buck, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, those are I love those fucking movies so much. Chris Farley, John Candy, fucking love those guys. That would be you and me on a road trip, by the way, is the entire road trip with Tommy and Richard.
Yeah, 100%.
The scene where they like go through the radio stations and they're like cry singing Spanish love ballads. How did we get to Tommy Boy? I don't know. I think it was me making fun of you. But yeah. Well, yeah, awesome. Very exciting. Good luck with your finals. The last thing that we will mention. Ethan, we've been hinting it for a while.
Have we?
And we have. And I'll be very honest, we are not as prepared as I would like us to be for this, but you know what? Fuck it. We're going to do it anyway. So, for a long, long time, we have been hinting that we need to put some things on t-shirts. We have done that. We have snuck some sneak previews to the Patreon of some of the shirts we've ordered, and the designs we tried out, and I am happy with them. Ethan, are you happy with the items you received?
They're so fucking comfortable. I got myself a hoodie that just feels like I'm being hugged by my own mother, and I've got a coffee mug that is currently being used as a receptacle for car parts. But that's neither here nor there.
You got to send me pics of what you ended up getting because I don't actually remember.
I will send you pics. I will.
Excellent. So the short trip to Grandma's house on this is we have found a merch site that makes decent t-shirts. Is it the cheapest thing in the world? No. But the whole point of this is to create some there's MASH merch out there. You can get stuff that's on like Etsy or on like Facebook that people are selling. You know, there's the like 3 or 4 designs you see all the time are the generic MASH shirts. There's there's a guy, I don't know if he's on Facebook or Etsy, but he's doing like caricature style art of the different MASH characters. The one that I know always goes around is the Captain Morgan style like gin label, but it's Captain Pierce Swamp Gin is one that goes around too. But we wanted to add our own little pizzazz to that. So currently, if you're listening to this, yes, Patreon people, that means you early on Friday listening to this as well. You get first dibs. Uh, it is a Spreadshirt site. Links will be in the description. All that jazz. We have a very few designs, but we have a lot of ideas of designs to add. Hang on, I gotta type in the password, and I have to do it not reading it out loud because it's very tempting to read out loud. Because if I read it out loud, it would be very obvious to MASH people what the password is. Literally, if you know MASH well enough, you can probably guess our passwords to everything.
Why first of all, why would you set those passwords like that? Second of all, why would you announce it to the world?
I trust our audience.
So
currently up on the site,
I don't trust that there is an audience to begin with.
Currently on the site, there are 4 designs. Well, 6 designs, but 4. You'll understand what I mean. We have our generic Best Care Anywhere 4077th medical cross with caduceus. It's our podcast logo. We just removed the MASH podcast part. Those will be available on pretty much any item that this place offers. There's the MASH 407th black PT shirt logo. This one is interesting. I'll put a picture up right now. I purposely sent the art for this in with a transparency. It's not solid black. It's like 50% transparency black because I wanted to see how they would print it. Would they print it with gray ink or would they print it black, just not as thick? I am happy to say they did not print it as thick. So it's black ink, but it washes out a little bit in the first few washes. I think I've washed mine, the picture you see, maybe 6 or 7 times since I got it. And it looks like it was quickly stenciled onto a shirt and, at the MASH unit. It's not a solid black logo, and I kind of dig it. We have Shave Your Corneas, available with a blue iris or a transparent iris, so it's whatever color shirt you get under it. And we have the black and white kimono dragon drawn by our very own Kansas boy, Ethan. And one that will hopefully be up there by the time the website goes live when you're hearing this. I'm going to add, for those of you that have followed our social media, my sister-in-law at her thrift shop, Trailer Park Thrift, now open in Newcastle, California. Come visit. Gifted me a matchbook that we talked about on one of the previous episodes. And in that matchbook, you could order a olive drab shirt with the white MASH 4077 logo. I'm going to try to recreate as close as I reasonably can that MASH logo and offer it in white on shirts as well. There's a lot of other ideas. There's an idea for a Klinger collection. What does that mean? You'll find out. I know one of the ideas Ethan and I float around is getting the Marilyn Monroe over the New York City subway vent, but slapping Loretta Swit's face on it and having it say, "Oh, Frank," underneath. There's a lot of ideas, and we're happy to take ideas from you guys as well. We wanted somewhere that we could share our little inside jokes, and get some more MASH merch out into the world. Again, they're not the cheapest things in the world. It is a dropship site. We do take a very small percentage of each order. I'm pretty sure that if you're listening to this for the next 2 weeks, it'll be 25% off when we first launch the store. So if you wanna get a Best Care Anywhere shirt to support your boys, or a MASH 407th PT shirt for the gym, check them out. There's a lot of different versions of the shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. If you see something you want that you can't get because I haven't turned it on the back end, reach out to us. The only other thing I'll mention for the merch site, we upload the designs. We do not make the shirts. If you run into an issue, please let us know, but also go through the customer service on the site. We upload the designs, we can track the sales, but we can't call the factory and be like, "Hey, you messed up an order." That is the one thing we can't do. So,
well,
please.
Hold on.
Well, no, shut up, Ethan. If you have a customer service, and shut up. If you have a customer service issue with Spreadshirt, let us know, but you need to reach out to them. They will be able to correct it. We cannot. We will take that information, and if there's a lot of problems, we will rediscuss how we do this. But that is the one caveat to this. So yeah, go check it out. If you've got merch ideas, let us know. I think we'll take ideas from the Patreon if anyone has one. Some of the other ideas are some of the ridiculous quotes that we hear in this episode we're about to discuss. So yeah. In addition to that, we have other plans for the show for the going forward. We have some live shows, not live like in person, but like live streaming as we record them for later in this season. As a lot of you know, there are some very consequential episodes coming up toward the end of this season, and we would like to find a way to get a bunch of guests on, or do it live or stuff like that. There's also Ethan and I are going to be meeting up in person in Kansas when I go out there to visit, and one of the things we're going to do is visit the Kansas National Guard Museum that has a MASH display with a bunch of cool memorabilia and signed stuff from the actors, and a one-to-one model of the swamp. We eventually want to go down to Malibu Creek. There's just a bunch of stuff we want to do. So in addition to the store, and this is absolutely optional, and we're totally not playing on anyone's competitiveness to be a higher rank than anyone else, we are going to add some other tiers to the Patreon. I know that it's going to be the next 3 ranks. I believe it's Captain, Major, and Colonel. I can't remember off the top of my head what the price point for those are going to be. Do not do it. I'm going to say it now. We're going to add them. Do not do it. If you want to do it, that's great, but don't. Where you are is fine. The reason we're doing this is we've reached the point where we're funding the podcast because of Patreon, and we thank you for that. But we would like to get a little bit of money in the bank so we can do some cool stuff if it comes up and the opportunity is available. Luck is where opportunity meets planning, so we're trying to plan and have a little bit of a nest egg. So if something cool comes up that we can do, say Sacramento Comic-Con, and some of the cast might be there. You never know. I don't think that's a thing yet, but if it becomes a thing, it would be better to have some funds in reserve than to be scrambling. So that's that. If you want to do that, please do. If you can't do that or are happy with the support you give us currently, that is also fine. I will mention, I've tried it for the last couple episodes, and I will make sure it is a thing going forward. If you are a paid member of the Patreon, you will get the audio version of the show Fridays before the Friday before it usually goes up. We usually post Monday. So that is the one extra thing that I can promise we will do, because you guys have been able to support us, and we thank you for it. Ethan, do you have anything to add? This is kind of spur of the moment because I forgot we said we were going to do this when we started season 3, and then we decided to start season 3 an episode early, and then I panicked. So did I miss anything, or is there anything you would like to add, Ethan?
I just can't fucking wait to start making these t-shirt designs, man. I'm just gonna go fucking buck wild, man.
Remember how I said we can only do designs on the front?
Yeah.
That is not true anymore. So
yeah,
we need to revisit some front back type designs as well. But so yeah, that is a thing. We ranted about it. No matter what though, we thank you all for your support. Whether it's just listening to the episode, which God, why do you do that to yourself? All the way up to people to our guests, to our Patreon people, to all of the above. All of you are fabulous. I am so excited that we are now starting season 3. It boggles my mind. We are a quarter of the way through the show, basically.
Shut up.
I know, it's insane, and there's so much more to go. And with that, Ethan, are you ready to dive into season 3?
As ready as I'll ever be.
So yeah, links for all the things we just said down below and popping up on screen, and being subliminally forced into your mind while you sleep. Go check them out. So Ethan, before we dive into season 3, we had our season 2 wrap up. We had a couple of notes on it real quick. I love how we only took a 2-week hiatus, and it feels like I'm relearning how to do all this. So
I missed you too, buddy.
So, I believe you read Bill's comments on the episode, but the lovely Leanne Bellicissa added her comments after we posted the episode. She liked the wrap up. It's so much fun to see Ethan move through the seasons And along the way, I think it's it's great to see Ethan move through seasons, and along the way, I think all of the diehard fans find new ways to interpret what we all know and love so well. Yeah, that's kind of the fun thing for me is kind of I've watched MASH a lot, but I've never really analyzed it because I've never really had the opportunity or reason to. So that's the part I've been enjoying is like the picking apart of all the little details.
And boy,
So
oh
yeah.
boy, we've done that.
Yes. So without further ado, let's begin season 3, episode 1 with The General Flipped at Dawn. Directed by Larry Gelbart and written by the dynamic duo that we will come to know and love over the next 3 seasons, Jim Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum. If for those of you in the know, you know that they write some amazing episodes over the next 3 years. For those of you not in the know, you are in for a treat. They write some wild episodes over the next 3 seasons. It aired on September 10th, 1974. So, Ethan.
Yes.
We are getting to the point where this season, I would say, be mindful of how far ahead you go if you choose to watch ahead. After this season, I would probably say I talked about this with Greg and one of our other fans as well. I would say this might be the last season you get to watch ahead because this is the season where the show starts to this season and next season the show transitions a little bit into how it does its storytelling, and it can affect how you view the episode we're currently talking about if you're 3 or 4 episodes ahead.
Ooh.
So that is my warning to you. I would say you are okay to go an episode or 2 ahead for this season until you get to toward the end of the season. Then you need to not do that.
Out of fairness to you and just for more genuine reactions, I will be going episode by episode. I will
excellent
put aside my urge to binge,
it's
as
so hard.
I have grown accustomed to.
If you need to binge, go back and binge 1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Because who knows, you with more hindsight, you might. I am curious if you come back and be like, well, hang on, I rewatched this episode and this occurred to me. So yes, do binge, but don't binge forward because we're getting to the interesting times. So yeah. With that being said, the General Flipped at Dawn, we open, Ethan, on the camp. This is our season 3 opener. I would say this is not really another pilot. Kind of like we had obviously the pilot episode in season 1, and we had kind of the soft reboot pilot of season 2 that was the psychiatrist visiting and you're kind of being reintroduced to everyone's antics. I don't know that this episode is as much of a pilot. It's more of a it's kind of establishing and reminding you like here's what everyone's modus operandi is, but mostly it's just a normal episode.
It really feels like we sort of just slipped from season 2 very nicely into season 3.
I agree. So we see Trapper and Hawkeye come out of surgery. Oh, also, we are in a new time slot, MASH's 3rd time slot. This is for this season. They're airing Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Ethan, I can't tell you how much I wish I could have been a child of the 80s. Getting home from my scout meeting at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays to watch the newest episode of MASH, that would have been just. I could picture myself if I had been alive at that time as a kid. I absolutely would have gotten home, flopped down on the floor in front of the TV in my Class A uniform, and watched the newest episode of MASH. And it brings me joy, but also there's got to be a dictionary of obscure sorrows word for being melancholy for a time you never actually experienced. Like,
I'm sure there is. That sounds. Oh, hold on. I that sounds way too familiar.
Yeah, yeah, but man, I can imagine being that kid, and I know that there's people in our audience that were that kid, and I am a little jealous of you. Um,
Uh, Anemoia? I don't know how to pronounce this. Anemoia.
Anemoia. Yeah, I think that's right.
Anemoia. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the longing for a time that you never actually experienced.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Hell
exactly.
Yeah. Anemoia. That's your word of the day, kids. Also, if
Is
you're
it a
into
word?
weird,
We don't know.
I don't know. If you're into weird words like that, the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows is a wonderful book. Go pick it up. But yeah, so new time slot Tuesdays 8:30. Moving right along. So Hawkeye and Trapper come out of surgery. We open on a great little bit. The PA speaker goes, "Attention," and Hawkeye just goes, "Yeah." I kind of love that. Uh, normal nonsensical conversation going on. Radar runs up and says Colonel Blake wants to see them both in his office, so they turn around and head that way. But we've mentioned it before on the podcast, so I thought it would be fun to bring up. They say, "Don't you know it? Doesn't Henry know today is a national holiday? It's Aaron Burr's birthday." Who's Aaron Burr? Aaron Burr, the guy who shot John Wilkes Booth.
Yep,
Ethan,
that's right. Yeah.
Would you like to correct that statement?
No.
We've talked about it before on the show. And it's
would not care
related to Cloud County, Kansas. Come on.
I have absolutely nothing to say. Aaron Burr, famously the murderer of assassin John Wilkes Booth, but I don't really see the issue.
He's not.
Nope, I don't know what you're talking about.
In the Wikipedia page for this episode, it mentions Boston Corbett. Are you interested now?
Oh, nope. I've never heard that name before in my life.
We've talked about this on the episode before, when we were talking about the Kansas road trip. One of the little fun sites that we're gonna go visit in the vicinity of where Ethan lives is the Boston Corbett homestead site. Boston Corbett was the Union private that fatally shot John Wilkes Booth through the wall of the barn.
As we've said,
second or third day after the assassination. It was after Dr. Mudd set his leg.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Dr. Mudd's great-great-grandson was in my 8th grade class.
That is pretty cool.
Thomas Mudd, 100%.
But just, in all
that
fairness,
made our Washington D.C. trip really interesting because we went to Ford's Theater and the lady, our tour guide's like, "So after he was shot, he ran to Dr. Mudd's house. How many of you know this story?" And we all raise our hands. They're like, "Oh, that's weird." And we all look awkwardly at Thomas, and like the poor tour guide's like, what's she's like, "I don't understand. How do you all know this story?" And Thomas just like, "My name is Thomas Mudd." Dr. Samuel Mudd was my great-great-grandfather. And our tour guide was like, "That is so fascinating." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure it is." Like, he's so tired of it. Because there's the whole thing of was Thomas Mudd in on it? Was he not in on it? Did he not like President Lincoln's policies, but didn't know Wilkes or Booth shot him? Was he just being a good doctor and Samaritan? I don't know enough to say definitively, but let's say the Mudd family very much is vehement that he may have had Southern sympathies, but he was not part of the assassination, nor did he necessarily want to kill Lincoln. So, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, Boston Corbett was the Union soldier that killed John Wilkes Booth. Aaron Burr was the 3rd vice president of the United States who famously killed Alexander Hamilton in the infamous Burr. Thank you. In the infamous Burr-Hamilton duel. So, yeah.
And you guys really, I'm sure we talked about it last time we brought up Boston Corbett. You guys need to look into his life because Corbett was just a fucking madman. After he shoots John Wilkes Booth, right? He goes to Kansas and he gets
dishonorably discharged.
Yeah. He built his homestead like 10 miles south of where I'm sitting currently. And he makes it into the Kansas House of Representatives. And then one day just thinks, okay, these fuckers are discriminating against me, and starts chasing off representatives with a revolver. And then the last thing anyone ever saw of him was just hopping a train to points unknown.
That is wonderful.
That's how I want to go.
That's the American dream right there.
I want to well, I can't make that joke. Never mind.
Oh?
I was going to say I want to scare a bunch of politicians with a firearm and then...
Yeah, no. No, give it a month. Give it a month. Yeah. Hey, remember that conversation we had at the beginning of the episode? Yeah.
See, that would have been a perfectly fine Ethan joke, not even a week ago. But, damn it, I really wish I wasn't living through a historical event right now.
Yeah, it do be like that. So they meet in Henry's office. Henry says that there's new commands coming down from headquarters. All personnel, regardless of rank, will fall in at 0600 hours for 1/2 hour of calisthenics. Everyone's like, hey, that's not no, why? Margaret gets her only line in the episode, which is calisthenics is a great idea. We're all in bad condition. I, for one, am very soft. Which Trapper responds with beautifully with, is that true, Frank?
Oh.
Which again, at that moment, Father Mulcahy takes his leave by going to bless a goat cart.
Priests will bless just about anything. There's very famously yearly a ride in the county I've in of a blessing of the bikes where they have a few priests come down and bless motorcycles. So
hell yeah.
Why not a go-kart?
Hell yeah. Klinger finds the calisthenics manual because he's dying to fit into a size 8. We find out that the new general is General Steele, a famous military part of a famous military family. His brother volunteered to be the first one bit by a mosquito while digging the Panama Canal. I love that during this scene. Did you notice what Trapper and Hawkeye are doing?
No, but I feel that I'm about to.
I can't tell in the freeze frame. Hawkeye is linking paper clips together, and Trapper is unlinking them at the other end.
What the hell?
It's like a Sisyphusian busy task. I love it.
The perfect for Henry Blake's office, I suppose.
Yes. We do not. I am very unfortunately have to tell you, I do not believe we get a good shot of Henry's desk. Never mind, we do. The engine piston is front and center in front of the doll. The engine piston remains, everybody. We're in season 3, baby. The engine piston is still here.
I want it so bad. I want to know what it came out of. I want to know.
It's got to be a big diesel generator. Like, what the hell else would... Or
I don't know. I was thinking it might be out of an aircraft.
Ooh, it could be a big, like, bomber engine piston.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking.
Man, I'm going to feel really bad when we get to the time when Henry is no longer with us.
Shut the fuck up now.
But what if the piston remains? You know, that could be the... You know what else is just occurring to me? That doesn't work? As I'm looking at this shot of the whole room. That's a wall, right? But the behind Hawkeye and Trapper, a wall to the outside.
Sure.
And that's a window.
Yeah.
So is that a recessed cabinet behind Mulcahy? Is there just a cabinet sticking out of the other side of that wall into the compound? Anyway. Man, set design's crazy. Moving on. Yeah. So choppers arrive. We get to meet... I didn't pull this gentleman up. How dare I? Our chopper pilot. Who's our chopper pilot? Teddy Wilson. Teddy Wilson playing Warrant Officer Martin Williams. Do you know Teddy Oh, you're saying hey yo because his name's Wilson. Great, cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, real quick scan through Teddy Wilson. He looks like, I'm scrolling through his IMDb because I didn't think to pull him up. Mostly bit parts, single episodes of stuff I'm seeing, although he is in 10 episodes of Rollout from 1973 and 38 episodes of That's My Mama from 1974 to 75.
Was he in
Um,
any of the episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard?
what is the time frame for those? Is that also 70s?
Yeah, late 70s, early
Late
80s.
70s, early 80s. I see MASH. The one episode of MASH he's in is this one. I do not see he's in an episode of Stanford and Son. I don't see the Dukes of Hazzard.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's in a lot of stuff, one-off TV series. I don't see many movies for him. TV movies though. The Twilight Zone. Yeah, that's about it. Is he dead? Oh, he's so dead. He died in 91. But yeah. We see that he has brought a very wounded soldier that's been hit by mortar fire.
Yeah, and a moment of silence for all of the actors in the 70s who just had to get slathered with red orange acrylic paint to simulate blood.
Yeah. 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 I will say though, head and neck wounds, the blood is surprised if you hit an artery coming from the lungs, the blood is surprisingly bright red.
Really?
Like redder than you would think it should be. Yeah. Yep.
Learn something new every day.
You know. Anyway. So yeah, wounded soldier who is played by Dennis Erdman, who has a total of 4 IMDb credits, and this episode of MASH is one of them.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you've already hit the top. Where do you go?
Yeah, where do you go from that? You were a wounded soldier on MASH. That's like peak that's peak extra in the 70s. It's either that or the guy running with the fucking ice cream machine on Bespin in Empire Strikes Back. Like those are the peak. That's peak extra for 1970s.
And Alexander wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer.
Yeah.
Anyway, Godspeed, you beautiful extra you.
So they get him into surgery. As they're operating on him, Henry and Radar come in with more updates from regimental headquarters. Radar begins, I love this, the model yacht race. Then Hawkeye encourages him to read it anyway because he hasn't seen a sports page in ages. The winner was Private Norman Polanski with his yacht, the American Beauty Dream. Corncob construction with toilet paper sails. Polanski has the sea in his blood. Second was the Clipper Evangeline car from a piece of pound cake. The remaining contestants didn't finish due to a sudden undertow after breakfast. Oh no. I have done many things, but I don't think model yacht races in the cesspool is ever a thing I will be participating in.
That's why no one will remember your name.
Yeah. But Henry mentions that the new regulations from General Steele are going to be strictly enforced. Uniform code, discipline, all the normal military hoo-ha is going to be enforced. Henry says they got to shape up. He's going to be coming around checking every outfit in I-Corps. Haircuts, shoes shine, uniforms cleaned and pressed. Frank comes in and mentions the pigsty they live in. My part's clean, but the other two people who shall remain anonymous live like swine. And we get the very iconic, and it might have to also become a t-shirt, Pierce, McIntyre, the Swine Brothers. I love it. We see Hawkeye check on his patient Harrison, and he's attempting to flirt with the ever wonderful. I don't know which one she is in this episode. I'm pretty sure is she Lieutenant Griffin in this episode? We've seen her before. This is this is Lynette Meddy, who has been Hawkeye's kind of go-to nurse. She's Nurse Baker in this episode, but she's also been Lieutenant Griffin, Nurse Abel. I believe, is she the one that gets her hand sliced by the Chinese POW? I believe she is. Hang on. No, she's not. She's not in that episode because that's Radar's report. She's one of those nurses, you know. Anyway, we see that Frank is trying to clean up the swamp a little bit before the general gets here. He is intrigued by Hawkeye's collection of magazines, The Joy of Nudity. Yeah. So this is going to come up. Naked people playing volleyball. Do you participate in this sort of thing? It's a tax shelter.
Whenever I can. You were never mind. Sorry.
Can we get weird? I feel like we need to get weird. Things have been too serious lately. Let's get weird.
You're right.
Nudity. How do we feel about it?
I sleep naked every night.
You know what? Never mind. Let's not get weird. I regret this immediately. Never mind.
Well,
moving right along.
If it isn't the consequences of your actions.
Not expecting the truth, I was shocked. All right.
You can
moving
cut
right
that
along.
out, right? You can just,
I can, but I think it's funnier if we leave it in.
Yeah. You're not wrong, but yeah. I don't want to alienate too many people.
Okay. Adjacent question, because it's something I feel like in like all the old like Stand By Me, all the old like coming of age movies, how prevalent is skinny dipping actually? Like that has never come up as a thing in my life.
Have you never skinny dipped?
I didn't say that, but like, I guess it's because I grew up in the early 2000s and that sort of thing was like, don't do that, you dumb children, because you're gonna get snatched by a predator.
Well, so here's the thing: it's not
like every stereotypical like 50s to 70s coming of age movie had the like group of 3 to 5 dude friends go skinny dipping in the pond, and like because there's it's Stand By Me I'm specifically thinking of because of the leeches and shit. Right? Like, yeah. So, like, is that, like, at no time in scouting, definitely not in scouting for a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
Like, but that's always the setup. It's like group of, like, middle school to high school age dudes hanging out, skinny dipping at the local swimming hole. Like, that has never been a thing in my life. Like, is that a thing that has happened to anyone ever?
Okay,
I don't know.
Let me put it to you like this: when you're with people, you leave the underwear on. You accept that your underwear is going to get soaked.
Yeah,
at least that's what I've done. But I'm on a long ride. I'm a couple 100 miles away from home on a motorcycle, and it's hot out. Okay, I see a beautiful lake, just a gorgeous lake.
Yeah, some town's drinking water reservoir. Yeah,
exactly. And I think to myself, my God, that looks absolutely divine. But I don't
buy bottled water in Kansas.
Carry swim trunks in my saddlebags as much as I need to. So instead of, ruining my clothes, getting my clothes soaking wet and ruining the leather on my bike, skinny dip.
All right. Anyway,
I'm probably going to regret putting all this information out into the world, huh?
Probably. Yeah. But hey, we're here now. So we jump to Henry getting ready for General Steele's arrival in 5 minutes. He's got his hair did. He's got a new uniform. He's putting on deodorant. He is feeling good. Radar is there getting all spruced up as well. Radar inspects Henry's uniform for him. And I love this. He yanks a tag off the belt and it says, "Do not remove under penalty of Federal Code 764-J." I love that. One of my favorite Henry Blake lines of the entire series. General Steele's little siren on his Jeep goes off and he goes, "Ah, hell, the kitchen's on fire." I've absolutely
It's the delivery of the line. It's
like, how many times has the kitchen caught fire that's the delivery of hell. Whenever we did the fire drill at camp, if I still had scouts up at the rifle range, I would absolutely go, hell, the kitchen's on fire again. And they'd look at me like, what?
That was very entertaining to me in 2016 when I was in the kitchen working because, that the kitchen being on fire was a very real possibility.
Yep. So let us discuss General Bartford Hamilton Steele, 3 E's, not in a row, played by Harry Morgan. We talked about this before. Harry Morgan was a prolific character actor who starred in over 100 films and was a stage performer. His top 3 movies that are on IMDb are The Oxbow Incident, High Noon, and Inherit the Wind, 42, 52, and 60, respectively. He is also very prevalent in the Dragnet series. I was mentioning to Ethan before the episode, there's that clip that always goes around. It's of the 2 detectives from Dragnet interviewing the young kid who's doing, I can't remember if he's smoking, selling, or buying marijuana. He's like, it's no big deal. Eventually the laws will change and this will become acceptable. And and he's like, just nonchalant, like, yeah, you might get me in trouble now, but it's gonna, generations change, morals change, laws change. And one of the 2 actors in that scene is Harry Morgan, is one of the detectives. But I read somewhere, I can't remember where I read this. I think this might have been off of the Monster Mash wiki. Morgan was afraid he had been acting so long in more serious roles than Dragnet that he was afraid he lost his comedy chops. Ethan, do you think Harry Morgan lost his comedy chops?
Not even a little bit.
I fucking love Harry Morgan. Now, I hesitate to say something. I have a theory about General Steele. But in order to share that theory, I am struggling with how to deliver this theory. Because I have a theory, but in order to share it with you, Ethan, I need to spoil something, but it's really only half of a spoiler because you know half of this spoiler already.
All right. Let me hear it.
Would you like to know how many episodes of MASH Harry Morgan is in? How many would you guess?
More than 1?
It is more than 1. I'll give you a hint. He does not return as the same character.
Oh.
Are you aware? So, again, audience, don't freak out. We've talked about this. Ethan is aware of what happens at the end of season 2 or end of season 3, but he does not know how.
Yeah, Ethan, season 4.
If something were yes, exactly. Season 4 happens. Ethan, knowing what you know about the end of season 3, the MASH unit is missing a rather important member.
My god, are you serious?
This is the first of 180 episodes.
Holy shit.
Did you not remember that Harry Morgan is Colonel Sherman Potter?
100% completely forgot.
I'm like, mind. I know you know who that Sherman Potter is. I know we've talked and you know that Sherman Potter is the replacement for Henry Blake because you've seen the later episodes of MASH. It, tangentially, by proxy. But it's like, I don't think you knowing that ruins, like, the first episode he's in. I don't think you knowing that Henry gets replaced after the events of season 3 is not a spoiler, I think, because, like, obviously. And again, I think you already knew this. I would have just assumed that maybe you didn't realize this was the same actor. But, yes, Harry Morgan takes over for Colonel Blake at some point in season 4, they bring him in. I won't say when, but they bring him in as Colonel Blake's replacement, Sherman T. Potter, Regular Army. So, and again, there's audience members that are maybe wishing I didn't remind Ethan of that or tell Ethan that, but it is important for the theory I have on General Steele at the end of the episode. It is get ready, MASH fans. This is a very, very interesting theory, and I want to get your thoughts on it. But yes, General Steele is here, played by Harry Morgan. We love Harry Morgan. I love Harry Morgan and McLean Stevenson, and I already know what movie we're watching at the end of season 3 as a uh uh a a palate cleanser from the end of season 3. We are absolutely going to be watching The Cat from Outer Space, starring Harry Morgan.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. God damn it.
It has Harry Morgan and McLean Stevenson in it. We have to watch it in the transition period between 3 and 4. Like, the universe demands it, Ethan. I've actually been told it's obviously a goofy schlotzy B movie from the 70s, but I've been told it's actually kind of funny. So we will see. But yeah, General Steele is here. He is very much in his his not dress uniform, but very crisp Class B, with his helmet, with his stars, his general's Jeep with the funky little side snap flap door thing that Henry tries to help him with. Sorry, I had to go back because the shadow on Henry's pocket button made me think he was wearing a Marine Corps globe and anchor, and I'm like, that would be a huge faux pas, but he's not. We see that General Steele is spry and is carrying the love of Ethan's life, the Colt 45 1911 military issue pistol. Yes. All right. I had to get it out of his system, everyone.
John Moses Browning.
Yeah, we know. God's chosen caliber. Yeah. Anyway.
The hills.
So General Steele, I'm just going to mute you for this part. So General Steele, General Steele inspects the troops, and this is just, I almost want to just clip the scene into the episode and not say anything, because it's such freaking great comedy on Blake, on Stevenson, on Morgan's part, on the extra playing his sergeant, on the various MASH cast members that he talks to. My second in command, Frank Burns. Trim the hair in your nose. Got that, Sergeant? N, nostril. I'll know what it means. This is our head nurse, Major Hulan. Gut in, chest out. Blackjack Pershing, 1914.
See,
do you want the sergeant to write that down? It isn't noteworthy. Jesus Christ. You were saying?
Nope. Continue.
No, please. I don't. Ethan, don't make. Ethan, please speak. I don't want to feel like I've upset you. Please.
Yo, you didn't upset me. All I was gonna say is that I said, "Got in chest out" to a girl one time, and then I don't remember the next couple hours. I woke up like 2 or 3 hours later with a dislocated jaw, like tied up in a weird place. I don't know what happened. Never made that mistake again, though.
Yeah. This is our chaplain, Father McKay. There are no atheists in foxholes. I've heard that. I'd like to see a shine on that cross, Father. This is my company clerk, Corporal O'Reilly. The Irish were rotten Indian fighters. Jesus Christ. Non-coms, the backbone of the service. Where are you from, son? I'm from Iowa. Talking in ranks. Dude, I love how much fun. Apparently, I read on the Monster Mash Wiki, and I need to find this if there's clips of it. And audience, if you know where clips of these are, please send them to us. Apparently, the outtakes for this scene, the blooper reel for this scene, was ridiculous. Everyone was just cry laughing at how ridiculous Harry Morgan was as General Steele. I desperately need to see the blooper cut from this. It's so good. He then goes on down the line. Radar notices that Klinger is coming and points it out to Henry. Uh, cool little bit of continuity, historical continuity here. Behind Radar, Ethan, I don't know if you noticed, there is what appears to be an Indian soldier in turban. I don't know if you caught that.
I'm trying to find the exact scene.
He's
But
just
I did not catch it at the time.
He's right behind Radar, and you just get a flash of him before Henry blocks him when he points out Klinger is coming. Fun little historical tidbit. Uh, that could be a reference to the fact that India was one of the United Nations fighting in Korea. And the fact that he's at a medical unit might track because the India's contribution to the Korean War was the 60th Parachute Field Ambulance Battalion, a mobile field hospital unit that eventually totaled some 627 medical personnel in the field. So who knows? He may have been there as like an exchange orderly or doctor or something. Fun little.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it.
And MASH does this. Every couple episodes, you might see like a different like a British uniform or a Australian or some other nationality, like in the background at the hospital or like in Rosie's bar, which is
because aside from the turban, from the flash I can see, it does look like he's got on a different uniform, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. The more khaki. Most of them are going to be the weird khaki because a lot of the allied nations in Korea were Commonwealth nations, so it's a lot of British Army surplus. So, yeah. So Klinger, in one of his best outfits, I might add, love the red hat and the polka dots. Wonderful. He will say later in the series he's a symphony in coordination. He comes up, he salutes the general, and in our not first but definite major clue that this general is not all there, he turns to Klinger and goes, "Not now, Marjorie. I'm inspecting the troops." And Klinger is flabbergasted. that is hint number one that something's not right here. We come back from commercial break. We see that Hawkeye's patient is not doing well. He may have some internal issues, maybe an abscess, internal bleeding. But Hawkeye needs to potentially get him down to Seoul or Tokyo. I can't remember which.
Seoul.
I think, yeah, it's Seoul. Yeah, because helicopter. But he's going to wait to see how things go through the night. And while that is happening, he's going to go on a date in his very fabulous Hawaiian shirt that I need to get one of.
I need to get the Hawaiian shirt. We're going to rob the Smithsonian.
No. Didn't Mike send us a link? I'm pretty sure Mike has a link in our little Discord server here. If you go back far enough,
I'm sure he does.
The actual pattern. Do not break into the government institution, Ethan.
But sure, it's not even on display right now.
Wait, what? It's not?
I don't think so.
How do you know that?
I thought because we looked. I think last time
the sign. Oh yeah, the signpost is a permanent one, and I think the whole swamp set gets swapped out every couple years. Like they'll put it up for 2 or 3 years, and they'll swap it out with another exhibit, and then put it back.
Which you can't really blame them. Blame them for it, considering just the fucking
sheer volume of shit that they have in the American History Museum is incredible. Like, I didn't realize how much I cared about seeing like Dorothy's red slippers until I saw them. Like, oh wait, the fact that those are like preserved is actually kind of fucking cool. The original C-3PO and R2-D2 like robots, the costumes, also was pretty fucking cool. But anyway, I digress. I think they also have one of the original like Kermit the Frogs.
Oh hell
yeah, dude! The Smithsonian Institute is genuinely awesome, but specifically the American History Museum. I think one of the coolest things I've ever seen. The MASH exhibit with the full swamp setup with one of the walls folded up so you could see inside. Very cool. The only thing cooler than that is the original. They have it laid out and it is It is not going to exist in another 50 years because it is just slowly deteriorating. The Star Spangled Banner, the 15-star, 15-stripe flag that flew over Fort McHenry.
Holy
the
shit.
Flag that the national anthem was written about. Yeah, that was unbelievably cool to see. But anyway, and it's in like a really dark room, and it's really like softly lit because light, it's so frail that light damages it. Like, you're not allowed to take flash photography in there. It's wild. But yeah. Anyway. So Radar got Hawkeye the saltines and cheese he needed for his date. The rumor is that the general is El Wacko, but Hawkeye's not concerned. To prove that he's El Wacko, we see that General Steele and McLean Stevenson. I keep doing the thing where I name a character and then name an actor. Steele and Henry are coming out of the mess tent. He notices that there's a tongue depressor on the ground, and he claims that it's waste that it can't be reused or cleaned and used again. Which, I don't know about you, reusing a tongue depressor is disposable by its nature, as it should be. But what do I know? I'm just a dude. I think he gets one of his ridiculous. Does he get one of his ridiculous little sayings in here? I can't remember.
Yes, he does.
Which one is in this little scenario?
Well, it's not so much a saying. He gets what was it? It was
it was waste that defeated Hannibal at the Battle of Zama. He was a darky, Which, hey, that's a surprise tool that will not help us later. Remember that it might be important. Yeah, remember that statement. It might be important for later. I love the what's that over there, Colonel? Oh, that's our 4-place latrine, sir. Good, the men can encourage each other.
Group shitting time in 10 minutes. Be there, be square.
Group shit. Jesus Christ. We're so back. We're so back. Hawkeye is on his date in the supply closet. Hawkeye, tell me the truth. Do you respect me? Do I respect the flag, the hamburgers, the loyalty of a fine dog? Oh, Hawkeye.
He's just got that charm.
Hawkeye plays off to General Steele that he's a member of the United Press. I love that the general is like prepared with something to say. That's Bartford, Hamilton, Steele, 3 E's, not all in a row. I predict an early. Let the record show that I can predict an early end to the war if it doesn't rain and we get all wet. I got some 8x10 glossies in my portfolio.
I feel like when you're absolutely batshit insane, it's a lot easier to just come up with shit and not have to have a prepared statement. Look at me, for instance.
One picture's worth 1,000 words, General. The dying utterance of General Custer. Dude, I can't wait for you to hear my theory. I can't wait for the audience to hear my theory about General Steele, because if it's even remotely true, it's fucking great. When you get home, could you call my wife? Certainly, General. Tell her I'm sending her a Jeep for her birthday. It will be in a large crate marked kitchen utensils. The prunes are working out fine. Best thing since the Gatling gun, which brings up images I don't want to think about.
Speaking of, where's the little general?
Where's the little general's room? He meets Trapper and Warrant Officer Williams. Yeah, Warrant Officer Williams in the O Club. Mentions his brother who contracted yellow fever during the digging of the Panama Canal. I love that Henry's like, oh, well, you should have called me sooner, sir. Whiskey and war don't mix. General Grant kept throwing up on his bugler, which is a great little like it's one of the more true things he said so far.
There's truth to any of his statements?
No, but this is one of the more true. General Grant was known through the Union Army for being a bit of a drinker. And it was something that the superiors in Washington did not like about him, was that he was seen as kind of a cigar smoking, boozing guy, and they kept trying to get him relieved of command of the army that was out west, not west like California, but west like the Mississippi, taking the forts on the Mississippi. But he was so successful that Abraham Lincoln's like, send him more whiskey. Shut the fuck up. Let him do his thing. Like, Abraham's like, why am I gonna fire the one general that's getting shit done? Like, okay, he needs to act a little more generally and drink less. Fine, I'll tell him that, but don't fucking fire him. There's a great clip from the Oversimplified History Channel. He does little animated, like, 30-minute synopsis of historical events, and one of the animations is them in the Oval Office during the Civil War saying, General Grant, sir, he's a drunk. He's a drunk and a womanizer. Well, what's his battle record? Well, he's won these battles and has pushed the Confederates back on these fronts, but he has a proclivity to drink too much whiskey, sir. Well, then send him more. But yes, Grant was known, and he kind of cleaned himself up toward the end of the war once he realized that he was kind of in the public eye. But yeah, very much drank too much in the early part of the war, for sure. In the course of this conversation, he determines that the helicopters used too much fuel flying back and forth from the front, so the MASH unit shall move closer to the front in order to save waste. This is absolutely if we do only one quote, it will be this on the t-shirt from General Steele. Henry argues, well, we've been here a long time. We've kind of gotten used to it. Why, just this last week, the nurses planted radishes. A radish will never stand in the way of victory. And I love that there's a pause while Henry's like, is that real? And then General Steele just goes, Marshal Foch, and walks away. Dude, he's fucking insane, and I love it. So Frank and Henry go with him to scout out a new location. Before they leave, Hawkeye, Henry mentions to Hawkeye, I can't disobey him. He's a 2-star general. Yeah, but he's a 3-star loony. They go and they inspect the new site. General Steele orders Henry to move the MASH here, and Henry agrees, fine, we'll do it. But General Steele says, aren't you forgetting something? You just accepted an order. That requires a salute, which they don't want to do because snipers may be in the area. And of course, as soon as Henry and Frank salute General Steele, the shots start flying. And I love General Steele. Well, we could stand and fight, or we could have lunch. Lunch!
I'm a little hungry myself.
I love a parade. The beat of the drum.
But you know what? Maybe I've been too harsh on General Steele, because when under sniper fire, his instincts, tried and true, command that he reach for his trusty,
Jesus Christ,
his 1911 on his hip. The only gun that you will ever need.
Okay.
You see, anyway, when John Moses Browning...
So, General Steele gets back to camp. As Hawkeye is sending Harrison away with Warrant Officer Williams in the helicopter, General Steele demands that the helicopter be recalled because he needs it to observe the move. The general calls Hawkeye insolent, insubordinate, and Hawkeye responds by calling him nuts. There is a hearing, very quickly set up, apparently. Set up to court-martial Hawkeye for disobeying a direct order. It is being presided by General Steele and Sergeant Donovan, I believe his name is. Oh no, that's a colonel. That's another colonel. That's a completely new character. Ignore me. That's a colonel. You can tell because of the little golden eagle, or not golden, silver eagle on his lapel. The crossed pistols, the golden cross pistols on his other lapel, is the military police emblem. 2 cross dueling pistols on a green shield, I believe, is their emblem. I know, because at one point I thought of becoming a military police officer. And guess where their training center is? Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, right near the Kansas border.
Very close.
So General Steele mentions that he also recognized Hawkeye from the supply tent or supply room. General Steele takes over the proceedings and interviews Warrant Officer Williams. He makes it clear that no charges have been brought against him. You are following the orders of superior. We would like to hear about the events from your point of view in your own words. And this is where things go completely off the rails. But first, a number. Sir? A musical number. Long pause. Well, you've got it in your blood, boy, which I love Harry Morgan. But any old, vaguely Southern Midwest white man calling a black man boy, that should set off like red flags.
Yep.
Like, yeah, no. Yeah. He then says, well, you got it in your blood, boy. Just let it out. And he starts singing a song called Mississippi Mud. Man, I really didn't want to read that sentence on the Wikipedia.
What is the sentence that you just read, Anthony?
Mississippi Mud is a 1927 song, a lot earlier than I thought it would be. Written by Harry Barris and first sung by, I almost don't want to say it because I don't want to think about it every time I hear this person's music. First sung by Bing Crosby.
No.
God, I hope Bing Crosby's version is Hawkeye's version. God. Oh, no. Bing. Man, I can't. Damn it, I almost made a really bad joke. White Christmas is never going to be the same now.
God. Shut up.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, fuck. Bing. Why, Bing?
We're not mad, we're just disappointed.
I mean, we should probably be a little bit mad.
Yeah, you're right. But you know what? I'm going to choose to believe it was Hawkeye's version. And until proven otherwise.
Give me a second, because we can find out. Nope. Unfortunately, Ethan.
Oh, no.
No, 100%. They sing it the way General Steele does. And I know that because the word showed, it's played in a different part of the song, and I'm like, man, maybe I just won't ever know. And unfortunately, I now do, and it's unfortunate. Damn, that's absolutely Bing Crosby. Okay, well. Anyway. So yes, Mississippi Mud, very clearly a song written in another time, because the lyrics are, when the sun goes down and the tide goes out, the darkies gather round and they all begin to shout, hey, hey, Uncle Fudd. It's a treat to beat your feet on the Mississippi Mud. Clearly here, under the other recording section, is the lyrics were revised because of the derogatory racial term darkies. You don't say, Wikipedia. So yeah, it's... And then there's this wild fact, television performances. Yes, they mentioned the MASH episode. It's also... Jesus, this is insane. Dean Martin and Louis Armstrong performed the song on The Dean Martin Show on December 9th, 1965. Okay. The song was also featured in the opening number for episode 18 of The Muppet Show. Muppets, stop. God,
Nick
everyone's
seeing the original Kermit in the Smithsonian Awards.
everyone everyone was problematic. That's what I'm learning. So yes, so General Steele gets on up and starts singing and dancing to Mississippi Mud. And you know what the damnedest thing is? It's catchy as fuck, and I
does a
kind
good
of
job, yeah.
He does a great. It is entertaining as shit to watch Harry Morgan dance and sing, but god damn it. Anyway, so he wanders off into the camp, and I love the colonel sitting at the table, just grabs the paperwork, closes the portfolio and zips it up. Like, this is a normal thing that happens, which is insane.
Damn, don't you hate it when your commanding officer just suddenly bursts into a very derogatory musical number? Yeah, must be Thursday.
So our button scene is Henry comes in and mentions that in Stars and Stripes it says General Steele has been promoted to a 3-star general and will be returning to the States to work in the Pentagon as the chief of East Asian Command. To which Frank responds, and you guys thought he was crazy. Crazy, a 3-star general hit it, and they all sing and dance. And I mentioned this, it reminds me of the scene from the movie where they're all singing Onward Christian Soldiers.
Yeah.
When Robert Duvall as Frank is praying. They're just dancing through that. Now, obviously, Hawkeye, being a semi-decent human being, changes the lyrics to when the sun goes down, the tide goes out, they all gather around and they all begin. Which is still like, who's they? Like, who are they? Could have been we. We all gather around and we all begin to shout.
Them.
Inclusive. Them. Damn. Man, nothing like being violently reminded that this show is 50 years old, set 70 years ago. So, yeah. But anyway. So, yeah, that is Season 3, Episode 1, The General Flipped at Dawn. Ethan, your thoughts? How are we feeling as the first episode of Season 3?
It is not a pilot. It's not another pilot. It's sort of reminiscent of some of the other episodes I've seen. A new higher up comes in, a general perhaps, and starts trying to shake things up. But it has a really unique spin on it, and it's a funny episode. I think we're off to a pretty strong start in season 3. The pacing felt a little weird, and I know I've said that before, but when it comes up, I feel the need to point it out for whatever reason. But still,
I think this is a 10 out of 10 guest appearance. Like, this is excellent. The question I always have, and I need to do some research before we get to the end of this season. And audience, if you have leads or information, please let us know. I already spilled the beans that Harry Morgan comes back to play Colonel Potter and will see us through season 4 to the finale as the commanding officer. We know outside of what the universe of the show, McLean Stevenson, and we will bring this up probably about halfway through this season, McLean Stevenson was not happy with his spot on MASH. He thought that MASH was enough of a jump start for him that he could leave and hopefully do his own show where he was more the lead. That is part of the reason. Again, there's more detail to this that we'll get into in a future episode, but Cliff Notes version is the reason they write Henry out of the show at the end of the season is because McLean Stevenson was leaving. How they wrote him out of the show is something we will discuss at the end of the season, because it was unique and crazy for the time. Whether McLean liked how they wrote him out of the show is another thing we have to discuss. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, but we're jumping the gun just a wee bit.
We're jumping the gun, but my question is, if they brought Harry Morgan in season 3, episode 1 as a guest actor, at what point did they know McLean wasn't returning for season 4? And at what point did they decide Harry Morgan would be his replacement? That's a question that I don't think I know the answer to, and I would like to find out before we get to when Harry Morgan is introduced as Colonel Potter next season. So, audience, if you know the answer to that, uh, shoot me the links, shoot me the deets. I got the big book of MASH here that I'm gonna peruse for information and the various Wikipedias and fan sites. But if you guys all have leads, let me know. I'm sure I know. I'm sure I've heard and knew at one point, but there's so much MASH information out there. I need to relearn it. So with that, Ethan, what would you rate the first episode of season 3?
I'm gonna give it a 4.4.
Okay.
Funny, good episode. Really love Harry Morgan, although I personally prefer my Morgan shaved. That's just me. Um, the pacing.
Take a guess how many times he's gonna make that joke over the next 7 seasons,
I
audience.
think I made that like last episode too. I think I'm gonna make it a lot. Oh well,
Mm.
deal with it. Just the pacing was just a little, sort of cattywampus.
A little catty, yeah, a little bit.
But I feel that 4.4 is a fair score for how funny an episode is, the episode is, and how well everyone works together. How about
Excellent.
you?
I'm gonna basically tie with you. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. It's funny, it's great. I love Harry Morgan. Harry Morgan is, I think, season 4 and 5 are some of my favorite MASH because I think it's my favorite mix. It's hard because my favorite character isn't even part of the show yet and won't be for a while, but I think my favorite dynamic of characters is season 4 and season 5 because you have a little bit of a mix up in the cast because of McLean leaving, and the dichotomy of Morgan, Alda, Linville, uh, oh, uh, Berghoff, Swit. The dichotomy of the cast in 4 and 5 is so interesting as the basically the jar gets shaken, things get changed, and everything settles back out. It's very season 4 and 5 are very fun because everyone's learning how to deal with the new commanding officer and change, and I love it. I can't wait. I love how we just did season 3 episode 1, and I'm already excited for season 4, and we got a whole year before we get there. But anyway, audience, the wonderful, lovely audience. We haven't talked to the audience in a bit. Hello, audience. How are you? How is your hiatus and living through historical events? Are you doing okay? Do you need help? Some of our audience, let's go to our Patreon first because obviously we love our Patreon peeps. Kind of sent this one out last minute because we changed the recording plan only a few days in advance, but we did get good responses. From the Patreon, Mike Jameson, 4 out of 5 martinis for a show that can introduce a guest character that you could see becoming recurring, which speaks not only to the talent of the writers, but to Harry Morgan as well, who plays General Steele's insanity as perfect, slow comic burn. Great performances all around. Great way to start off season 3. Buckle up. Bill Pauly says, good episode. This one I had forgotten about. Morgan plays a great crazy person. Watching Colonel Blake try to get all his ducks in a row is hilarious. Hawkeye's quick wait is a good touch. 4 out of 5 martinis. Bring on season 3. And as always, we need to shock Ethan with the number of people who support us. They are include but are not limited to Private Stuart Boyles, Private Sarah McIntosh, Corporal J. Temple, Corporal Jared Gallagher, Corporal Derek B., Sergeant Timothy Burleson, Sergeant Louise Black, Lieutenant Mike Jameson, Lieutenant Leanne, and Lieutenant Brad Brad Ryder, I didn't forget, and Lieutenant Bill Pauly. Reminder, if you enjoy the show, if you want to support us in a more substantial way, the Patreon is an option. Links are available in the description. If you do not want or cannot afford to support us in that way, please don't. We appreciate it, but it is absolutely not mandatory. You are going to get the same podcast whether you donate or not. The perk is you will get it a few days early and get first dibs to say vote on things or help us choose a movie. So yeah. Not a lot of perks, but a few. So thank you all.
Fuck
We
is
love
wrong
you.
with you
You're
people?
wonderful. Ethan, shush.
I,
This is how
I,
this is how I'm paying for gas to get to Kansas. Be quiet.
I just they they
We're
must need some
loved.
sort of help. That cannot be
That
true.
Ethan, that part is obvious. But over to the hell site known as Twitter. We're starting to get enough responses that I can't read every single one, so they're going to be very brief. Donut Eater 4.3, fun way to start the season. Morgan does a great job. Loved his scenes with Hawkeye, and the scene with Marjorie was great. Boop, boop, boop. Bella Sissy says one of her top 5 episodes in the entire series. This is one she goes to when she needs belly laughs. Chief Smash says 4.5. Hilarious. Love to see. Okay, I can read this one because we talked about it. Love to see both commanding officers of the 407th together in this show. Harry Morgan is fantastic. 4.3 out of 5 from Big Beard Booty Daddy. Classic in every sense of the word. Harry Morgan gives one of the funniest performances that we'll ever see on the show. Despite being something that wouldn't fly today, parentheses, a bit racist. Yeah, but I believe yeah. Anyway, there is a comment by Mike Jameson underneath his, because he mentions it's nice to see both actors together. And he's like, I wonder if the podcast will mention that. We are mentioning it. We're absolutely going to watch The Cat from Outer Space. Just give us time. I will say this: we have a new follower on Twitter. None other than Sergeant Max Q Klinger follows us on Twitter. Ethan.
You're
not
kidding.
not literally Jamie Farr. An account called Maxwell. Dude, if Jamie Farr or Alan Alda or any of them followed us, I might die. I don't need them hearing my thoughts on the show they were in. No. They said it's 4 out of 5. Didn't age well, a little cringe, to be honest. Yeah, maybe. I think it can be a little cringe, but at the same time, they are clearly making fun of General Steele and how ridiculous it is that is his thoughts and opinions and behavior. But yeah, little cringe. But yeah. There's a lot more. I would love to read them, but we are starting to get to the point where there's a lot of responses, which is cool. So, before we wrap up, my General Steele theory. We'll see if it holds up. It already doesn't because of some facts we've learned in the show. So, Ethan.
Yo.
You remember season 2's pilot, yes?
Let me check.
Or season 2's first episode. This is Divided We Stand. The psychiatrist is sent in to observe. Okay. Do you remember the last episode of season 2?
Of course, A Smattering of Intelligence.
Where the ruse is
that's not my real name.
Yes. The ruse is that they are joint spying on the 407th and studying its personnel. I have a theory. There is an episode much later in the series when Harry Morgan is Sherman Potter. I believe it's called April Fools or something to that effect. Mr. Morgan is, I won't spoil it because that episode, because there's some awesome spoilers in that episode that you get to learn. Harry Morgan's been in the army, or Sherman Potter has been in the army a long time, has seen all the gags, all the tricks, all the subversions of authority, right? He and his buddies were and still are practical jokers. Part of me thinks, and it doesn't hold up when you examine it too close, I think there is a possibility you could headcanon that is Sherman Potter playing a bit. Just like he lost a bet and is told to go just be a goofy general to this MASH unit, or because he thought it would be funny. Some scenario exists, I think, where Colonel Potter dresses up as a general that is in theater and is taking over the East Asia Command, but The doctors don't know who this general is, so he can just pretend to be that general. Hell, he might even know the real General Steele, as we come to learn from Colonel Potter. He knows many generals that he fought with or served with. So there is a non-zero part of me that thinks that is Colonel Potter. He's fucking with the MASH unit as a little in-joke with him and his friends. And then weeks or months later, when the offer is made to him to serve out the rest of his term of service with the army before he retires, he goes through a list of units with available openings for commanding officers and sees the MASH unit that he was familiar with. And despite being General Steele and being goofy, he would have actually been inspecting the MASH too, and knows that their record is good, knows that he is a doctor and could serve in that role. So that's part of why he chooses to go command the 407th for the remainder of his tenure in the Army, because he had been there a few months before and had seen that despite them being goofy, he knows that they're a good medical unit. And he would have known what buttons to press. He would have known to just wave off Klinger as a fake nut from the reports from General Clayton's office. He would have known that he can fuck with Henry a little bit because of the reports from General Clayton and the various investigations into the camp. He would have known that Frank Burns is a bit of a pip and that Margaret has the reputation she has because he would have read the reports. He knows that he can push Hawkeye and Trapper's buttons a little bit because this is kind of my no prize why Harry Morgan plays two different characters. Once you start getting into the nitty-gritty, hey, would Sherman Potter have been intentionally racist for a bit? Well, there's an episode in the future that says, yes, he would absolutely be intentionally racist for the service of screwing over someone else. In a good way. I know Ethan's sitting there why are we happy for this? He fakes being racist to call out another racist person in a future episode. It's kind of great, actually. Okay, how does that explain that General Steele got promoted? My argument would be that the real General Steele either isn't involved at all or is in on the joke and is friends with Sherman. So that's my goofy theory about General Steele and Sherman Potter and Harry Morgan. Audience, you can tell me if it's stupid or not, but I am curious what the people think. Ethan, we will revisit this once some of the actual episodes I mentioned happen. But yeah, thank you for allowing me to go on a tirade of things that you can't possibly know yet. How are you doing over there, bud?
Oh, I 100% believe it.
You think so?
Yeah, I believe it. Yep, I trust you with my heart, soul, and
you really shouldn't do that.
Being.
You really shouldn't do that. Yeah,
you
don't
tell
do that.
me that the sky is green.
Yeah, don't believe that. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. Please remember that merch is available now. Go check out the links in the description. If there's something you like, pick it up. If there's something you think we should make, let us know. Check out the Patreon if you're interested, and we will be back. The next episode will probably be episode 2 of season 3, which is... Oh, why can't I remember off the top? Is it? Oh, it's Rainbow Bridge. This is a very weird episode. Very interesting episode, but it'll be a fun time. And then probably sometime in August, because Ethan will be traveling near me, which is terrifying, we will probably then sometime in that vicinity watch Kelly's Heroes as the bonus movie episode. Again, we wanted to mix it up specifically because the world was being stressful and we needed Harry Morgan singing and dancing to bring us out of it. But that's all I got. Ethan, do you have any final witty remarks for the audience?
As much as I'd like to, I think I'm good. But...
All right.
But first, a musical number.
When the sun goes down, the tide goes out. They all gather round and they all begin to shout, "Hey, hey." What a dance they may do, Lordy, how